Okay, so you know the whole thing, what is it? Jack and Jill go up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack falls down and breaks his crown, and Jill comes tumbling after. Okay, so I thought about a couple different ways about this. Jack's going up the hill to get some water. Jill's going with him. So they're both going after... Water would be emotion. It could be translated into happiness, I'm supposing. I suppose, sorry. Like, maybe even the whole idea of getting in a relationship or something, too. Chasing that happiness. Jack falls down. Okay. So for some reason, he got knocked off his throne, or his high horse, or whatever you want to call it. They say high horse. If you ever seen the card, the one card specifically, the child riding the horse, and it symbolizes happiness with the sun. Anyway, so he falls down, right? And I'm gonna say that would be like, I wouldn't say dethroned, but like loses his happiness. Something happens, and he kind of falls from grace. And then Jill comes tumbling after. So generally, when somebody does something to another person, there's going to be karma involved. Or if they've both done something, and one falls and then the other one falls. For him to go first, something would have happened. For him to lose his crown first. And then if she's in on it, she's going to go after. Or it could be guilty by association. It's just little things like this where I kind of reanalyze what this would be a nursery rhyme. There's other things too. It could be song lyrics or something like that. That's what I'm doing right now, is just seeing the hidden message behind it. Like the whole idea of the itsy bitsy spider climbing up. You're constantly this reminds me of my own freaking life. Is like you're constantly climbing up to get somewhere. Not even sure where it is you gotta go. You just know it's somewhere to be safe. You just know it's somewhere good. And the rain, which would also can symbolize emotion, constantly washes you down or drags you down. However, there is good emotion, so technically, I don't know if you could really say that, but the determination, I definitely resonate with that, because it doesn't matter how many times I get knocked down, I keep getting back up again. Being afraid of a spider. What is it, Little Miss Muffet? Sat on a tuffet. Is a tuffet a mush? What is a tuffet? That obviously she's sitting on her butt, but like, is she sitting on something specific? I didn't even look it up before I did this video. Sat on eating her curds and whey. I'm just gonna say oatmeal. Eating something. Along came a spider and sat down beside her, and scared Miss Muffet away. So like, let's say the spider is representative of your own creativity or your own... Yeah, I'm going to associate it with that, because if you look up the symbolic meaning for spider, one of which is creativity. So let's say a spider comes down and sits beside her, but she's afraid of her own inner workings, like her own inner mind. And I think a lot of the times I symbolize like a spider with the synapse of the brain and stuff like that, and how that all is mapped out. Kind of like internal from within outwards, how certain things internally, you could see how something represents it, or it's shaped like that, or it looks like that, and it has a lot of similarities. Kind of like it's like replicated outwards. The whole idea of the car being developed and how it's like an extension of ourselves, like the vehicle to get us moving faster. It's like an extension of, or how we use tools. It's like an extension of our hand, or something like that. But the whole idea of how the creativity, I personally, usually when I'm in my creative state and I really zone in, I'll see a random spider. That to me is just like a sign, symbolic. But it's interesting how she's scared of it and she runs away. So I think a lot of people are afraid of that side. The getting in touch with your inner child, by the way, that includes it. The whole creative side, that includes that. But if there's like any wounds that aren't healed, or there's anything left to be mended, then yeah, revisiting or getting in touch in any way with your inner child or your creative side could be, one could take scary. I'm sure if there's certain shadow work that hasn't been done, or certain demons you haven't addressed and stuff like that, which is just unhealed trauma, unhealed inner child, then when the creative side pops up and you recognize it but it just scares you because there's some things you haven't looked at, then yeah. So yeah, she's sitting there eating her curds away, and then she gets scared by a spider. And there's a couple other nursery rhymes too. Man in the Moon. Whole idea of silver spoon. Cow is usually representative of black and white. Black and white's like duality, yin and yang. They're very, very peaceful animals, and they just graze grass all day, which is green. So they're full of green. Hey, green in the chakra would be love, which makes sense also. A cow's very peaceful, and they're black and white, and then they graze grass. It's just really interesting when you take a look at things from a different perspective, instead of just one specific way that you're taught. If you don't use your own way of thinking, if you don't use your own brain, form your own opinions and thoughts, and be creative with things, and be curious, and question things, and look at things from a different perspective as well. I find some of the best work that I do is when I'm taking a childlike approach to it, allowing that inner child to just come out and kind of play, and then look at things from a different perspective, and you get a lot of insight, you get a lot of messages, you get a lot of downloads, you get a lot of aha moments. Like, oh, that's why that's like that, or that's why that's working that way, or that's why that person created that. Like the real reason behind it, you know? You get a lot of those moments when you allow your creative side to come into play. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I want to jot that down.